Well, hello there. This is yours truly, times two, Raising the Cane. Maurice, are you there? I can't hear you.
Happy New Year.
Okay, now I hear you. Come in. Happy New Year, everyone. So
Lot,
it's been a
lot
while.
going on.
Lot going on. Lot going on. Sorry for the technical glitch coming back. So
Yeah.
um things happen though. So it's a new year, 2026. Woohoo!
It's a new
Raising the
year, a new
Cane.
day.
Hey, that's a song, by the way.
I'm right. I remember right. Don't steal the idea.
Well, someone already wrote it and published it and has it copyrighted, written. So,
They
um,
stole my dream.
first movers. You got to be a first mover. If you're a last mover, then you get last, right? So, okay. So anyway, well, it's been a while. We were on a sabbatical, or is that just for teachers? So,
Well, it's also for people on the lam from the authorities. Well, no, I guess just being a fugitive.
yeah, fugitive. Okay.
But I guess
So,
it's a kind way of saying you're a fugitive or a sabbatical from freedom.
yeah. Okay.
Well, that would be prison. I'm on a sabbatical.
Yeah, it's called sabbatical. Yeah. Where have you been for 2 years? Sabbatical. Okay.
I was serving my
Yeah.
community in my own way.
Yeah. In the Sunshine State. Okay. Your state of choice. So, but anyway, well, we're glad to be back. And as usual, we'll mention things to hopefully enlighten and piss off too. That's who we are,
Yeah.
raising the cane.
And maybe even
And so,
depress.
yeah, never know. So,
Will take over the entire emotional spectrum.
right. Emotional intelligence. That's right. Emotional intelligence. So, well, gotta love us or hate us, either one. You choose. But anyway, hopefully love.
Well,
But
as
anyway,
long as you don't have the means of finding us, you can hate us.
yeah, I don't know about that.
Don't
Yeah,
act on it.
that's true. That's true. So let's chit chat a little bit. Um, well, this time of year, what was on my mind is always usually the Oscars, the Academy Awards. And by the way, recommend going to the American, what is it, the Motion Picture Museum,
Yeah.
um,
Academy Museum
Academy of Motion
in the Miracle
Picture.
Mile on Wilshire
Yeah,
Boulevard in
yeah, that is,
LA.
I was reluctant at first saying, what are they going to do? But we actually had a good time, Sandra and I, and this was early last year.
And who
And
recommended that?
let me see. Dun, 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 dun. Uh-oh. No, hope we don't have to pay a royalty for that. But well, we're not getting paid, so right today.
Yeah.
Uh never know. But you recommended it. It was really it's not too far from it's literally next door to the La Brea Tar Pits and the Peterson Automotive Museum. So we
And the
in
LA
Los
County Museum of
Angeles.
Art.
And yeah, it is. Mocha, I guess, right?
No,
And
MoCA is the one
oh
in
yeah,
downtown LA, the Museum of
the
Contemporary Art.
contemporary. That's true. I've been to both, so I was confused. Let me
Well,
wake up
just
from my
read the sign.
confusion. Yeah, but anyway, just visit all the museums on that in that area, the Wilshire area.
Yeah.
But in Los Angeles, for those who are not familiar with that, it's Los Angeles, California, where it's at, and they have a whole lot of museums in California, by the way. So we can go on and do a whole show or two or three or four going over the museums and just Los Angeles, let alone the other counties or cities and stuff. So
Yeah.
that Lucas Museum is coming on board in September of this year. I can't wait. If you're a Star Wars fan or Indiana Jones with George Lucas, uh, man,
And in
it's
fact, a shout out to Exposition Park,
mhm.
which used to be the farthest most boundary to the west of the city of Los Angeles. That's actually where LA stopped at
Hmm.
Exposition Park in University of Southern California.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, in fact,
Yeah.
it's undergone multitudinous transformations over the
Hmm.
last century and a half, from racetrack and gambling, brothel, to the modern day mecca of the LA Memorial Coliseum, the um, the stadium where the LA Football Club, a soccer team that's part of Major League Soccer, um, plays its home games. Um, Former site of the LA Sports Arena, where
Hmm.
President John F. Kennedy
Hmm.
um, accepted the nomination of the Democratic Party.
Hmm.
Also, the current site of several other long established tourist attractions, including the Natural History Museum, the uh, Discovery Center, the
Hmm.
Rose Garden,
Hmm.
and walking trails, and the site of many festivals and other events.
Okay.
And oh yeah, and Mike's Swim Stadium.
Mike Swim Stadium. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting facts.
yeah.
That's good. So the topic at hand, Academy Awards is going to be coming up soon. And I took special note of the 16 nominations for Sinners. Wow. And no spoiler alerts, except for what the story's about. It's vampires.
Well,
And
enough
excuse
time
me.
has passed, so I think you can
Mm.
give
We can get a
details.
little to yeah. So they're vampires and it centers around blacks in the South. Uh, and I have to say, I didn't have any expectation whatsoever, good or bad, either way, about it. To say, well, okay, ooh, it seems interesting. Michael B. Jordan playing a double, the twins, and let me check it out. And I have to say, and it wasn't gory. It wasn't a gory type movie, but obviously they're vampires, so they did have to bite somebody.
There's
And so
bloodletting.
there's bloodletting. So, but it's not gruesome bloodletting. Um,
Not that
think,
there's anything wrong with that.
yeah, if you're a vampire, that's what you do. But, you think in the vein of Twilight, the trilogy, where, yeah, you see heads bitten off or here or there, but it's not excessive, is what the point is. And so for those
Yeah.
who are squeamish about seeing horror films, but I have to say it's light horror, LH, light horror. And but that's amazing. So congratulations to the director, Ryan Coogler, and
Yeah.
who's amazing director, and Michael B. Jordan, who played, he was excellent, and all the other actors, actresses in there, and cinematographer and
Haley Steinfeld.
composer, all of them. It just amazing that happened. So, but I normally, I mean, in the old days, we used to see all the movies, or at least 99% of them that were nominated in the old days. I don't know, Mars, if you still try to, but I gave that up. But I know long ago we used to try to catch them all so we know what the movies were about. And I guess that's a diehard fan. But I was looking at Best Pictures, The Secret Agent, Bugonia, Marty Supreme, Train Dreams, F1, Sinners, of course, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value. So,
So I saw
wow.
half of.
Yeah.
I saw Sinners, One Battle, Frank, Hamnet.
So can you still hear me, Maurice? We're having some technical difficulties.
I hear you.
Okay. So anyway, but one thing that pissed me off is who's absent on this list, and that's Wicked for Good, the part two of, you know,
Explanation given.
it's like I want to do some homework on why they had what the hell happened. At least Cynthia Erivo, if no one else, her character that it was. I don't. I can't. I'm holding back on what I want to say. So
Well, everything we like is going to be now,
right.
and that the sequel, then the um, and that the songs were not as compelling.
But they wrote the one big song of almost all the movies was in Wicked. At least the song should have been nominated. I mean, it's just I'm just at odds. And the thing about it is, part one had, I believe, 13 nominations. So they were willing to accept a fantasy, and it's not. And of course, this wasn't an original concept already. It was out of a book at the turn of the century, ninth, 20th century. And
Although
uh,
basically, Gregory Maguire take on it
right,
because it's a revisionist examination of the life villainous of the original bomb was adapted for the 1930s, uh, which was a perennial rebroadcast. Every thing.
Maurice, I think we lost you. I apologize with some interference here. Maurice, can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but we lost you. Okay, sorry. So, um, obviously the movies, the part one and two were the viewpoint of the alleged wicked rich, wicked witch, wicked witch. And I don't know why I said rich. It could be wicked rich, I guess. Um, but so, I mean, most people were familiar with the story. But nevertheless, the performance by Cynthia Erivo and also Ariana Grande, they were good. You say, well, good isn't enough, but uh, I just can't see just no nomination on any category. They missed every category. So I just thought that was unfortunate. So um so anyway, we don't have to belabor the point. So I'm going in there with a little wicked sadness. But hats off to the cast and crew, of Sinners. And it's nice to see people of color uh predominantly in a movie, without it being a slave movie. Wouldn't you agree, Maurice? So, excuse me, we're still having technical difficulties. difficulties. I don't know what it is today, but hello, Maurice.
Yeah, you hear
Okay,
me?
yeah, I don't know why it's going in and out today. So hopefully, yeah. So next topic. Um, I've been heavily watching the news, business news, and what's going on in the economy. And do you think the Americans are, we're just talking about the U.S. of A. I know other countries have similar problems. So, are locked out of the American dream of because of what's going on in the sky high economy, high interest, high um, purchasing prices, and like home ownership. You got to be there are $1 million everywhere, 800,000. Maybe you get you a cheap one for 500,000, and then also with the essentially a hiring recession where it's tough getting employed, even though the economy is fairly doing well.
It depends on how you define dream, because dreams don't necessarily have to come true. I mean, most of us between 5 to 8 or 9 hours per night have a multiplicity of subconscious cognitive landscapes and plots. Many of them are fanciful, some are nightmarish, some of them are libidinous, some of them involve defeat, some of them involve hoisting up some trophy like the Vince Lombardi for the team that wins the Super Bowl, or a golden statuette if you dream of being a professional actor. But if you're speaking about the attainability of some of the economic metrics that were traditionally associated with being in the land of the free and home of the brave, it's increasingly more arduous to achieve them. And I think largely because we have been betrayed by our chattering and elected and bureaucratic classes in Washington, D.C., and the various state capitals, and the operatives running the administrative agencies that choke commerce, entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. Some industries may be successful apart from overregulation and lawmaking and policies from not only US, but the European Union, which in its own fashion stifles American conglomerates in big tech like Facebook, Alphabet, and Elon Musk's various enterprises,
Hmm,
partly because they're progressive to socialist and they
hmm,
don't really believe in national sovereignty. And they certainly have an antagonism towards individuals, families, and private business.
hmm. Okay.
Now, is this inevitable? I mean, is it an extinction level event like the disappearance of the dinosaurs or the dodo bird
Hmm, hmm.
or
Dodo bird. Okay.
democracy? Maybe
Yeah.
not. Um, but you need people who are influential and can alter this trajectory. And let me be specific. I think you got to cut taxes. I think you got to eliminate red tape. You have to make it easier for individuals who haven't inherited $100 million to build businesses. You
Hmm.
have to make it easier for investors to take chances outside of big tech, Hollywood, and AI, which seem to be uniquely privileged because they don't seem to care about anything else than those fields. And I think you got to persuade uh, the significant European and Asiatic powers to go along. I mean, I think you've got positive developments here or there with Argentina and El Salvador. And South Korea seems to be very reliable in
Hmm.
East Asia.
Hmm.
Only wish the Africans were better governed because it seems to me like most of them, unfortunately, seem to have a different way of imagining what Cuban prosperity must look like. Because whatever they're doing now, it's not working.
Yeah.
And they can't even protect their populations. Look at the ongoing massacres and abductions of Catholics and other Christians in Nigeria. And I
Yeah.
think in Mozambique, beheadings are more commonplace there than in Taliban run Afghanistan, which is in South Asia. And Somalia still seems like a mess with um, many of the Somalis causing trouble in the United States, particularly the
Yeah.
massive multi-million dollar
Yeah.
daycare and
Minnesota.
other
Yeah.
fraud in
Yeah.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
which is misgoverned by Governor Waltz, who was
Yeah.
the DEI VP um, uh, running mate. So I think even though that all sounds very negative,
Really?
you know, I don't give up hope. It's kind of like you know, you could be vomiting and you have diarrhea and a massive migraine and
Hmm.
be unable to get out of your bed. But that doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
It means that you need better medical care and treatment.
Yeah. It just seems this generation is shortchanged, and is experiencing a lot of stupid, to be frank. Sorry, Frank. I'm not talking about you specifically,
Oh,
Frank,
you
but
went there.
it's like following the Joneses. The Joneses get a bad rap sometime too, even though it's not personal. Um, but yeah, like for example, I know it's not a necessarily easy solution, but it's the easy problems that caused all of this. Uh, where there's not enough homes out there, which basic supply and demand. If you constrict supply, you force demand up, and prices and interest rates and all the other stuff go up.
Right.
Unaffordability, and it's a new kind of being affordable, because you in the past when you say affordable, you thought of low income or housing or
Yeah, like
people,
Section 8.
Section 8 or something. But now this is like the disappearing or probably gone middle class, where before you could have a couple work at fast food places and still be able to buy a house or buy a car.
Right.
In our generation,
And not a
you did.
shack and a jalopy, but uh,
Yeah. Yeah, a
actual single
reasonable
family
nice house.
home
Yeah.
and American motor vehicles.
Mhm. So I think a lot of greed. It's okay to think about yourself, but not at the expense of a future generation, or
But see,
so
but
they're
it's
yeah, I know where you're going with what I said.
Because
But
it's not the because people want to blame
yeah.
capitalism
No,
and free
but still,
enterprise.
I when I say greed, this goes beyond just capitalism. This is, I think, people that we
Capitalism is
just,
good.
I think we're referring to people that already failed on a moral level, but a legal level, yeah, maybe you can do what you do, but not thinking of the big picture. I think short-sightedness. It's
Right.
sort of like, yeah, what is it? Greed is good, you know. No one heard of that since when Michael Douglas said it in Wall Street. But um, taking advantage of people, even if you could legally, so quote unquote, take advantage of people, should you do it?
Well, see, but see that, but see,
Yeah,
there's you have to parse it out.
I know you do. It's not a simple finger
And
pointing here, but yeah,
because what I'm talking about
yeah.
is the problem with the the laws and the regulations,
Well,
which have
yeah, that's
been
part of it too. That's part of it too.
yeah.
But people
So
are behind this. I'm talking about the people behind what you're talking about as far as to allow this problem to happen. It shouldn't be a problem where people that make a decent income can't buy a house.
yeah, but
Yeah,
but you had to call out the
yeah,
governors
yeah. Of
and
course, it's
the
their fault. Of course, they let it
senators
happen.
and the congressmen.
And the pacifists that just let it happen. They may not have been complicit, but they allowed it to happen.
They are complicit.
Yeah,
And in fact, you
yeah.
know who else is?
Who?
The stupid people governing or allowing these people to be elected.
Well, that's true too.
You know,
Yeah,
look at Los Angeles, for example.
yeah, hellhole.
And why is it that way?
Well, because we keep putting the same people in there that destroying it. And now Washington D.C. is see where that may be going. You
You
know,
know,
yeah.
Washington, D.C. should never have been given home rule
Mm.
um, because you look at the fools there, and hopefully they're listening and will, take measures to put themselves into sanitaria and assisted living so they can't continue to wreak havoc on the rest of us. Um, Not everybody with a JD, MBA, MB, MD, or all the other alphabet soup um, initials behind their names should be in positions of power, influence, and authority over the rest of mankind, much less their families, because they're probably ruining many young lives by the poor examples that they're setting. What you need is to probably eliminate like 95% of the laws on the books, and that's municipal ordinances, state statutes, and federal legislation. Let people govern themselves. If people want to live in Stalinist dystopia, they should be able to do it the old-fashioned way by starting their own cults and communes. They shouldn't be dragging the rest of us into their dystopias.
Mm.
Um, like these violent protesters, everything they dislike, they have to destroy. And they don't are not content with just taking over campuses and freeways and public squares and courthouses. They they got to run amok everywhere. They've got to assassinate speakers invited to college campuses with whom they disagree. They have to take shots at candidates for office that have different operating political philosophies. They have to prevent any individual that strays from the party line from having the opportunity to express themselves in rights that are not created by the United States Constitution. See, these are inherent to who we are as Homo sapiens. Uh, Washington, Franklin, Madison, Jefferson, they didn't give us any rights. We had those rights because we are created beings made in the image of God. The Constitution exists to protect us from the government. See,
Well, I
you
think
have a
that
right to
ship is
defend yourself,
well.
and I don't need to have anyone give me permission to prevent a predator or a burglar or a homicidal maniac from attacking me or my loved ones. I can do that because I am a man, I'm a human being. I have a right to defend myself, and everybody has that right. See, that's why gun control measures are ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
but
we're talking
but
big,
yeah,
firearms. We're not talking about you have an
but yeah,
independent nuclear arsenal.
yeah, but some people shouldn't have guns, as you know.
Oh, oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so
Some people shouldn't even
yeah,
be walking free.
no, they shouldn't, and not being able to propagate either. So,
Well,
but yeah, yeah,
this is Right to Life
but
Month, so it's January.
but
Um,
anyway, so anyway, uh, not gonna conquer that subject at this point, but um, to give some hope, let's move into the hope category of especially young folks and people that whatever your age is, shoot, it's not over until you say it's over. Um, to increase your chances of being able to participate in whatever your dream is. And that means you have to make certain decisions. Like me, at some point, I'll stop making bad decisions, those big ones that could take you out, Titanic size. You
yeah,
can't do those anymore. You may be allowed 3 or 4 or 5 of those in your life, and if you do beyond that, you're destroyed and you're done. You don't want to get to that point. So this is not a preaching moment here, but just whatever's right for you, obviously legally and morally, and that's a big argument too. But
but
to take, as far as enhance your skills, get education, not necessarily a 4-year degree, but get some skills. That's what you can do to get income coming in. Because without income coming in, there is no dream. There's no
but they have to
possibility
change their
of a
mindset.
dream. Yeah. And for the
In that,
one, yeah, I know we're talking to a diverse crowd. So some people may already be on that track to do or
well,
thought. And if not,
well,
yeah,
some of these are
yeah,
the people who voted that
yeah.
Mandani in as mayor of the Big Apple.
Mm.
Some of these people
Yeah.
are of the current generation X that want everything handed to them.
Hmm.
They don't want to invest the sweat equity
Yeah.
and they don't want to make the sacrifices. And
Well, let's
it,
be specific. So the folks that are following or participating in socialism to hit the name.
and even when
Uh,
they don't call it
yeah.
that, it's
Yeah.
in effect because there's gamesmanship with the lexicon. People prefer to use, in some cases, euphemisms and more anodyne sounding synonyms for really what they want an end to businesses that exist apart from government,
Mm.
and they want
Well,
to
yeah.
redistribute the income
Wealth, yeah.
that others have earned or
Hmm.
received through inheritance, which is legitimate. There's nothing wrong with you giving money to your sons and daughters and next of kin. You shouldn't have to be ashamed about being successful, whether or not it's a rags to riches story, or whether you actually were yourself a
Mhm.
recipient of a trust fund or uh, wealth from your ancestors? You know, I mean, I think we've come across a situation where, for some reason, just being affluent is somehow a transgression or a crime against humanity. I think it all depends upon how you use your resources. And you don't necessarily have to be a philanthropist or a humanitarian. It may be good if you are. And many have done well in establishing uh, institutions like Andrew Carnegie, who's responsible for um, libraries from coast to coast.
Mhm.
But it's actually a form of quote unquote philanthropy in a way if you create a business that employs dozens, hundreds, thousands, or millions of people.
Mhm.
You're giving people jobs and the means by which they can uh, lift themselves up. Does that mean that your wealth immunizes you from the consequences of criminality? No. If you're committing fraud, or there was a Wall Street Journal article earlier this week about the fellow who had this sex dungeon in New York City
Mhm.
where he's torturing women, not necessarily the most wholesome and virtuous women, mind you, but it wasn't what they were bargaining for because it was like some of that BDSM, and you have like a safe word such as pineapples,
Mm.
and they would say the word pineapples, but he wouldn't stop what he was doing.
Mm.
And and of course everybody knows about Epstein,
Well,
who
yeah, yeah.
who was quite a philanthropist, and he gave to Ivy League schools and various nonprofits, and was very cozy with many politicians, some of whom have been held in contempt by Congress for refusing to comply with subpoenas to testify on Capitol Hill about their association with Epstein or trips on his private jet to his own island in the United States Virgin Islands, which are ironically named given what he and his accomplices were doing, you know, taking away virginity in many cases, you know. But it's kind of like when you think about it, one battle after another, which is the name of that Leonardo DiCaprio film, which was one of the movies nominated for the Oscars this year.
Mm.
It's one battle after another. You think that you've overcome polio or smallpox or tuberculosis, or that you got laws um, prohibiting corruption on Wall Street or small town America, or that you've liberated this particular country from uh, a narco terrorist affiliated Castro loving dictator, or you're in trouble with many of your allies because you want to take over um, the largest island in the world. There's always so much going on, so much. That's why you got to be involved. That's why you can't just be passive and inert
Mhm.
and expect others to act in your best interest. You got to act in your own.
Mhm. Well, there's a thing, four-letter word called fear, and some people, you know, are reluctant for the various reasons. And, ironically, if they were to participate, uh, they could avoid a lot of their own pain that they're enduring. But
Be like
you know, it's
Wolverine.
so it's sort of like the 12-step program. Until you get up in front and stand up and say, I have a problem, you're not gonna, most people don't address it. So they don't see a problem, or they see it, or they're hiding it and throwing it, they're looking with their head in the sand, so to speak. So it's all kind of reasons. Um, but you know, I want to. I can't think of that Benjamin Franklin thing about good men. If you stand and men, not just the gender man, but men in a mankind way of just stand by and do nothing.
Right.
So it's all over the place what people's motivation or demotivations are. But one thing is, if you're not going to be part of the solution, then you can't say much. Sort of like, people that don't vote sometimes. Well, if you don't vote, well, you don't get a, you're not you're participating by omission, I guess.
Yeah.
you know, and I don't want to beat up anyone at this point, but
Beat him
teach
up.
is teach his own, but I know one thing, uh, socialism didn't get us here. So, and if you want to give away all your stuff and share it, that should be your prerogative. But you shouldn't be allowed to take anybody else's stuff
Yeah,
arbitrarily
we call
and
it
give it to
theft.
other. Yeah, it's called stealing, and it's immoral. Actually, it should be illegal, immoral, and the irony, if you're a Bible thumper and thinking, taking successful people's property or assets and just doling them out, redistribution is a spiritual gift. Well, something's wrong with you.
But you know
Uh,
something?
so,
You know, just even if you're just a smart atheist and
right.
want the best for your country, because I'm not writing off people
Mhm.
who reject the existence of a supreme being
No,
as long as they're,
you could do the right thing and be an atheist. There's nothing to do per se, but I'm just saying some people, uh, want to connect, their beliefs with what they believe is the right thing to do. And going back to self-determination, yeah, but there was slavery, so there was no self-determination during that time. Um, and
you know,
there, you
at
know,
some point though, you kind of got to get over it.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
return
yeah,
to um, the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th centuries
yeah.
and uh, abolish slavery in the United States before the U.S. Civil War. And we're talking too about an institution, slavery
Hmm.
that is, much like piracy, which have been around as long as civilization has existed. When there were walled fortress towns in Europe and the Middle East, and even North America, like Quebec is one of the last remaining walled cities. And from hunting gathering societies to the wars between the indigenous peoples of the Americas, even before Columbus and Cortez and Ponce de Leon, they were doing it to themselves,
Hmm.
with Aztecs ripping the hearts out of living um, maids and young men, because you just can't blame it only on Europe and its descendants. It's a universal stain, um, an
Hmm.
original sin in a secular sense of
Hmm.
humanity. People have been enslaving each other all over the world.
Right.
Romans did it, Chinese did it.
Hmm.
Um, and the problem in this country, the USA specifically, because we may have viewers and followers of this podcast elsewhere, is that at some point you got to man up and take responsibility and stop blaming all the Klansmen and the Confederates and the white citizen councils and the Aryan brotherhoods and everybody else because, you know, they're wicked and we all know it, but they shouldn't stop you. And I don't mean wicked in the sense of wicked for good, like the movie, but in terms of being despicable and dastardly, which
Mhm.
are good old fashioned words that are applicable. And
Yeah.
even the people who consider themselves to be the most virtuous and will call themselves quote unquote Christian, you got to watch out for them because they'll try to cheat you. Like there's cases where all these pastors, they want to shame people who not aren't able to give as much as others, in the collection plate,
Yeah.
you know. And what are they doing?
Mhm.
They're buying their own jets. In
Yeah.
fact, they probably have more.
Mansions yeah.
They got more property than Sean Puffy Combs, and probably
Yeah.
doing far worse than he did in their mansions
Hmm.
that were purchased by their congregations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Don't get me
unfortunate.
started.
Yeah. So, but anyway, no, we're about to end. So,
Don't get me
any
started.
close? Well, let's cap this. And so, you all have an opportunity to help yourselves, and we should change laws and participate in the politics of the land, and certain things need to be changed. And but I know one thing, uh, you know, if people earn their success, no one has a right to take it away. Should have a right to take it away and redistribute it. And so, but we should still, as society, give opportunities like we had, when we were 15, 12 years old, whatever, 18, 20, 25. You pick a year. And there should be opportunities out there for people desirous of those opportunities, like our children. And when I say children, they're all adults, but they're still our children, right? So,
Children are our future.
children are our future. Okay, about to go into a song. So, but, and I know some the things we talked about may seem harsh, but we had that mindset at one point in our life to that communism and socialist type of viewpoints and remnants of that to guide us. And it's like, you know, and then this is not to over preach any other concept like capitalism, but just, it's to me, it's just fundamental that you learn skills and apply them and have an opportunity to, finance your own future. And there shouldn't be any obstacles to be able to get ahead. And of course, there's going to be obstacles, natural ones, um, and some of those are self-imposed, and some of them are not. But I believe um, I'm avoiding going into breaking out in song and dance here. Children are our future, la 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 la. but
Well,
but
just because something is
hmm,
inflicted in part by your own poor decision making, like
hmm,
STDs, for example,
hmm.
doesn't mean there's not some solution,
Yeah, whatever the
ultimately.
issues, yeah. TMI
And
on that one, yeah.
well, it's reality.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the point is to, yeah, get wisdom, like King Solomon or better. Just get wisdom. And we all make mistakes. And the main thing is to own up to them and accept whatever, and to devise a plan to move forward. And sometimes that plan includes, you may need counseling, which we encourage you to do if you need it, and other advisors. And when I say advisors, you don't have to be a millionaire. It could be someone you trust and that you see is doing well. Say, hey, how did you get on this path? And get rid of the pride and ego and ask for help. Um,
And take chances though. I
And
mean,
you got, yeah, not,
just
not,
because
yeah. And
something
when we
doesn't
say
work out
chances,
doesn't
yeah,
mean you
right.
shouldn't have made the effort.
Right. Right. And sometimes we make decisions and it just doesn't work out. There's no finger pointing involved. Just things don't always work out. And we could quit any day of the week and say, "Oh, that's it. I'm not going to do it anymore." But we encourage you to not quit, to not give up, to press ahead and just make better decisions and better planning, learn about how to uh, as far as financial management to take, first you have to have perhaps the front end is the education and the skills to earn an income and then go from there. And to be
But you know,
self-sufficient is the goal.
but sometimes it's good to quit. Like if
Well,
you're
certain things, well, it depends on what it is. Yes.
if you're hooked on fentanyl or over drinking, quit.
Okay,
Quit
now,
today.
okay, not so
Stop it.
easy. But
Stop
we're
poisoning
talking,
your body.
yeah, of course, if you have a vice, that's why I said seek counseling, please. We're not going to
We're,
be counselors, but
I'm
yeah,
counseling you right now. Just quit.
if it no, well, no, we're sharing information, but
I'm qualified.
no, no, you're not. But
Yes, I
anyway,
am.
so anyway, he's just kidding because yeah.
And the, and by
Anyway,
qualified, I don't mean I have a drug
no,
counseling credential. I
thank
mean
you, thank you.
I'm qualified to tell you that it's not good for your
Well,
health. I think anybody could tell you that.
well,
And
we're not
that
going to use, yeah.
Yeah, for example, if your parent is telling you
Mhm.
something, you're going to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, do you have a
Mhm.
degree in that?" No, they're giving you
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah. So, but
Hey,
we're gonna
I wanted to
cap
share
this out.
something other than
Can you wrap it up, please?
other than chastising people. Here's something I've been doing more
Yeah,
sketching.
thank you. Thank you. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
You want to know what it is?
Some kind of demonic something.
No, not everything's demonic. Shit. Um, the character
that
is Black
that's a happy
Annis,
person,
the blue hag from. It's actually
a warlock
um,
witch.
an old English supernatural entity that um, wasn't always benevolent, shall we say?
Okay, demonic.
And
Okay.
then there's this. See, because I'm not just talking about dreams. I'm actually decided I'm going to do my New Year's resolutions and do more sketching and writing poetry. So here is
Oh,
my
good.
rendition of probably can figure it out. Mighty Mouse.
Good. We could receive a cease and desist order now.
I'm
It's
not making
okay.
any money from this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you
And
show the
then
picture of Winnie the Pooh too? Okay. It's okay.
and because I don't know if we'll have a Valentine's Day um episode. This is kind of a
Like
you
mushrooms.
these are mushrooms. These are the death's cap mushrooms and hearts
Okay.
because
Is
your
that supposed
love
to
for
be positive?
something
Okay.
may be destructive.
Okay. Okay. And leaving you on that positive note, but thank you for your pictures. It looks good. You still there, Maurice? It's like you're frozen, frozen in time, frozen in time. So, well, we this has been a nice uh airing of and return of Raising the Cane. Sorry for the technical difficulties, frozen stuff, internet is having some kind of internet system problem. But anyway, want to thank you for joining us and please share a program. Like we said in the beginning, you may not always like what we say, but that's the name, Raising the Cane, raising up issues that could be most likely controversial and what have you. So we thank you for that. And thank you, Maurice. And hopefully Sandra can get us on the next go around. So until next time, Did you have anything closing thoughts, Maurice?
I just want to read part of this poem. It's an eight exploding in your heart like scorpions, eyes of inner imagination, not the outward pretension word indeed. It's an eight blowing apart your wheels that spin around the block of your mind. It's exploding of a shattered consciousness. Bomb, making me glad to be alive. Still,
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that. And until next time, this is Raising the
raise
Cane. Raising the Cane. And out. Have a good day.
or
Goodbye.
otherwise.
Bye.
Bye.